Minute Math. When you need help, you use Minute Math.
I'm Sean Gannon, and this is Minute Math, and today we're learning about the distributive property. We're going to simplify each expression. So, if I was given this expression, 6 times 1 minus 5m, okay? Well, first thing first, I need to multiply this 6 and distribute that inside of the parenthesis, right? Because inside the parenthesis, there's nothing we can simplify there. So 6 times 1 is 6, and 6 times 5 is a 30, and 30m. 6 times 5m is 30m. Keep the subtraction, and now at this point, there's nothing to simplify. We can't simplify anymore. So my final answer is just 6 minus 30m. Negative 2 times 1 minus 5v. All right? Negative 2 times 1 minus 5v. Well, inside the parentheses, we cannot simplify anything, okay? So we have to distribute now. So negative 2 times the negative 1 is a negative 2, okay? The minus sign is right here, all right? Negative 2 times 5 is a negative 10. So negative 10 with the v, negative 10v. And now we have subtracting a negative, which we know is plus a positive. So I can rewrite this to be a negative 2 plus 10v, and there we have our final answer. 3 times 4 plus 3r. Okay? First step, inside my parenthesis, can I simplify? No. Now, distribute the 3 across to both parts. 3 times 4 is 12, and 3 times 3r is a 9r. And now we're done. We can't combine anything, so my final answer here is just 12 plus 9r. 3 times 6r plus 8. All right, so inside my parentheses, nothing I can simplify, so we got to distribute. 3 times 6r gives me an 18r, and 3 times an 8, keep the plus sign in between. 3 times 8 is 24, and so my final answer here is just 18r plus 24. 4 times 8n plus 2, okay? 4 times 8n plus 2. Well, first thing here, inside parentheses, nothing I can simplify, okay? So then from there, I need to distribute the 4, okay? 4 to both parts. Well, 4 times 8n is a 32n, and a 4 times a 2 is an 8. And so my final answer is just now 32n plus 8. Negative 2 minus n, okay? Well, first thing here, inside my parentheses, nothing I can do to simplify, okay? So now we just have to distribute this negative within the parenthesis, okay? Well, we have negative times a negative 2 is a positive 2, right? Negative times a negative is a positive. Subtraction sign in between. Negative times a positive n is a negative, so we have a negative n here. Now, there's many ways to look at that, but we have a negative here for the n, and that's the same as adding a positive. So my final answer is just 2 plus an n. Negative 6 times 7k plus 11, okay? Well, first thing I want to do here is inside my parenthesis, I look, there's nothing I can simplify, okay? So now I have to distribute the negative 6 across. Well, negative 6 times a 7k is a negative 42k. Then the negative 6 gets multiplied by the 11, and we have a negative 66, right? It's negative 6 times 11, negative 66, okay? Now, I don't necessarily want to write plus a negative at the end, and so we know that's really just subtraction, so we can rewrite this, negative 42k, oops, don't forget the k, there we go, I made it work, minus 66, and now we have our final answer. Negative 3 times 7n plus 1, okay? First things first, inside my parenthesis, nothing I can simplify, right? Can't combine these two. So now we distribute the negative 3. Negative 3 times 7n is a negative 21n. Negative 3 times 1 is a negative 3. So we have plus a negative 3 there, okay? Now, adding a negative is the same thing as subtraction, so I'm going to rewrite this to be negative 21n minus a 3, and now we're done. My final answer here, negative 21n minus 3. Negative 6 times 1 plus 11b, okay? First step here is I look within my parenthesis. Can I simplify? The answer is no. Okay, so now we have to distribute the negative 6 to both parts. Negative 6 times 1 is a negative 6. Negative 6 times 11 is a negative 66, and we keep the b, okay? So we have negative 66b there. Now, adding a negative is the same thing as subtraction, so we have negative 6 minus 66b, and there we have our final answer. Negative 10 times a minus 5. Negative 10 times a minus 5. All right, inside my parenthesis, nothing I can combine. We cannot simplify that. All right, so now we have to distribute the negative 10 across. Negative 10 times a is a negative 10a. Negative 10 times 5, well, we have subtraction. Negative 10 times 5 is a negative 50. All right, but now we have subtracting a negative, which is the same thing as adding a positive, right? So we can rewrite this to be negative 10a plus a 50, and there we have our final answer. Negative 3 times 1 plus 2v. All right. First thing I want to do here is I wanted to distribute this negative 3 across. I can't simplify within the parentheses, so negative 3 times 1 is a negative 3, plus negative 3 times 2v is a negative 6v. Okay? Now, we know adding a negative is the same thing as subtraction, so let's write that out. Negative 3 minus 6v, and now we're done. That is my final answer. Negative 4 times 3x plus 2, okay? Well, the first thing here, inside my parenthesis, there's nothing I can do to simplify, so I have to distribute now. Negative 4 times 3x is a negative 12x, okay? Plus, negative 4 times 2 is a negative 8. But wait, we're not done. We have adding a negative, right? Adding a negative, same thing as subtraction. So we have negative 12x minus an 8, and there we have our final answer. 3 minus 7k times a negative 2, right? There's multiplication there, all right? Well, inside this parenthesis, there's nothing that I can do to simplify this, okay? So I now have to distribute the negative 2. Now remember, this is multiplication here. So we have negative 2 times 3 is a negative 6. And negative 2 times 7k is negative 14k. Now be careful here, right? Negative 2 times 7 is a negative 14, but we have subtraction right there. So now we are subtracting a negative, which we all know is the same thing as adding a positive. So let's do that. Plus a positive, so negative 6 plus 14k, and that is my final answer. Negative 20 times 8x plus 20, okay? Well, inside my parenthesis, I cannot combine these two, so I can't simplify them, all right? So now I have to deal with the distributive property. Negative 20 times 8x, we've multiplied this to both parts. Negative 20 times 8x is a negative 160x, okay? And then negative 20 times 20, okay? Negative 20 times 20 is a negative 400, okay? So now we have negative 160x plus a negative 400. Well, adding a negative is the same thing as subtraction, so let's write it like that. And now we have our final answer, negative 160x minus 400. 7 plus 19b times a negative 15. Okay? Now, within my parenthesis, there's nothing I can do to simplify this, okay? So I'm going to have to multiply the negative 15 to both parts now. Negative 15 times 7, well, I don't know off the top of my head, but I got it here for you, is negative 105. Take my word for it, okay? So we have negative 105 plus, now 19 times negative 15, take again my word for it, is a negative 285b, right? There's a b there, so it's negative 285b, okay? So we distributed negative 15 to both parts now. Now, we're almost there. Adding a negative is the same thing as subtraction, so we have negative 105 minus 285b, oops, not 28b, but 285b. Be careful there, Sean. 285b, and now that is my final answer. X plus 1 times 14, okay? X plus 1 times 14. Well, inside my parenthesis, there's nothing that I can do to simplify this, so I need to distribute the 14. 14 times x is 14x, and 14 times 1 is just 14. So this one's actually pretty quick and easy and simple. 14x plus 14 is my final answer.
Minute Math. When you need help, you use Minute Math. Minute Math. When you need help, you use Minute Math. MinuteMathTutor.com.